If you're looking to send your child to the best high school in the state, we've got one answer.
That's just one of the topics I discuss with Idaho Education News reporter Kevin Richert in this week's Making the Grade. Kevin here for Making the Grade. Interesting report came out that I wanted to talk to you on about Idaho's high schools and a big ranking and Boise High giving itself a pat on the back.
Well, Boise High School did rank #1 in this survey, this ranking of Idaho high schools. What's interesting about it, this website called niche.com, they're based out of Pittsburgh. They do this across the country. They've actually rated and ranked 14,000 high schools across the country. And what they do is they take the standard statistics that you would look at for a high school, test scores, graduation rates, and what all. But they've also done surveys with parents and students to get a sense of what they think about the schools. And Boise High School was ranked #1 in the state, according to that survey that came out a couple of days ago.
So it's not just a numbers game. They're not just some group sitting back there going, oh, these numbers look good here, they don't look so good here. They're actually getting commentary from the stakeholders.
They're getting feedback from the kids, they're getting feedback from the parents. So it's an interesting little cross-section. And some other kind of surprising schools making the top 10, like Cary, which is a very small high school. It's actually, I think it's a K-12 school in Blaine County, was ranked, I believe, 4th in the state. So it's an interesting little cross-section.
Anybody not do well that surprised you?
I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head that you would have expected to rank high that wasn't there. I think all 4 of the Boise high schools were ranked in this top 100. It's an interesting list.
All right, we're going to post that for you on our website as well, also on idahoednews.org. Let's talk a little bit about, since we're in the Boise School District, what they're doing and what they're promoting with STEM technology, STEM learning. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. These are the high-tech majors, and there's a lot of focus on our students coming out of high school prepared to study the STEM disciplines because they're a precursor to a lot of high-paying jobs, a lot of professional jobs, after college. So what Don Coberly, the superintendent of the Boise district, did was, Coberly is a numbers fanatic. He loves playing with spreadsheets and looking at metrics and seeing what's going on in the schools. So what he did in Boise was he looked at the graduating class from 07, 08, 2009, 2010. Looked at the high school graduates, looked to see, of the ones that then went on to college and got degrees, how many of them got degrees in these STEM disciplines. And what he saw, and it's kind of interesting, and he's encouraged by this trend, the percentage of students who are getting degrees in the STEM fields has increased. It's gone from about 24% in 2007 to 30% in 2010. So more kids coming out of the Boise schools, majoring in STEM disciplines, getting degrees in STEM disciplines.
So on the right track, once again, the Boise
School
District.
Right, if you're looking to prepare kids for these high-tech, highly demanding jobs, the workforce of the future, if students are being able to then go into the STEM fields in college and get their degrees in the STEM fields, that's an encouraging trend.
Very fascinating. Okay, before you go, I have to quickly ask you, legislature coming up upon us in a little more than a month now. Talk to me about the Senate Education Committee. Could be a bit of a shakeup there.
There will be a shakeup. Now, the legislature is back in town tomorrow. It's not a full-blown session. It's their organizational session. And what happens tonight and then Thursday, especially on Thursday, the legislature decides who winds up on what committees, who winds up running what committees. Now, we know the Senate Education Committee is going to have a lot of shakeup because the chairman of the Senate Education Committee, John Getty, lost in his primary election back in May. So he's gone. We'll have a new chairperson, and we will have at least 2 new members of the committee because of other senators who are no longer going to be there. So it'll be interesting to see who winds up chairing that committee, who winds up on that committee, because a lot is going to come before that committee.
Very
in the
quickly.
Session ahead. They will have to deal with this broadband issue, the Idaho Education Network. They'll have to deal with the tiered licensure, the teacher licensure issue that has been very controversial, and a lot of transition issues with the new state superintendent. So a very important committee. It'll be interesting to see who's in charge of it.
They got a lot on their plate. That'll be fun to follow. All right, much more reading, head on idahoednews.org. Kevin, thanks for joining us for Making the Grade.
Thanks.